You want to give an
Everybody?
introduction?
Sure. Welcome back to Buddies on Buddies, the show with two real life buddies talking about buddy films, not just buddy action comedies anymore, just buddy films in general.
Well,
I'm Kenny
mostly
Lang.
mostly comedy, I think. I'm Lucas Hill. Kenny and I met in film school,
Mhm.
and we know our
Together we
movies.
conquered the world and,
Yeah,
never looked back.
and
So,
we went to LA. We crashed and burned hard.
yeah, hard,
Drugs
fucking
weren't the
hard,
issue.
man.
Drugs had nothing to do with it.
No.
We just sucked.
Child labor. That's what that's what ruined us. Just too many sweatshops. Whoops.
Kenny knows a lot about movies, a lot more than I do. I have much better taste.
Mhm.
Yeah, no argument
Yeah,
there from
okay.
Kenny.
Yeah.
Kenny, do you want to introduce the movie we watched this week?
Sure. We are watching the 2016. I'm not sure who the production company is because it looks like a ton of different independent Chinese companies put up the money for this. Because if I don't know if you saw the opening credits, but it's just scroll after scroll, and it's just like presents. But anyway, the 2016 film Skiptrace, starring Johnny Knoxville and Jackie Chan, directed by Rennie Harlan.
I love how you gave Knoxville the billing over Jackie Chan.
Yeah, I probably should have flipped it, but whatever,
All right, we're gonna get into it because there's a lot to get into. It's a fucking interesting movie.
Mm-hmm.
Guess you can call it
very
that.
interesting, fascinating,
fascinating.
Skiptrace.
More about what it is fascinating, not the actual film that they made. But anyway, what's before we get into that? Did you watch anything this week worth mentioning?
I watched a couple of documentaries. I saw a movie called The Great Buster. It's a documentary on Buster Keaton. It was directed by Peter Bogdanovich. It was his last movie he directed before he died. I thought it was a really good documentary. And if you don't know Buster Keaton is, I definitely think it's gonna be a great primer. Has a lot of his kind of highlight reel of some of his insane stunts he used to do. Like, I couldn't believe some of them, like a car just driving past him when he's getting chased by a mob, and he's just standing there and he just grabs onto the back of it and just flies away. Like that would, and everyone was even saying that would most likely rip someone's arm off. I don't know how the hell he did it, and they asked him later, did you speed that up? And no, just had the car drive by real fast. I just grabbed it and flew away. So that's a good one. Also watched this documentary on Netflix. It's been on there for a few years, but it's called Long Shot. Do you know about that one?
Sounds familiar.
It involves this guy who's on trial for murder of this 16-year-old girl, is a Hispanic guy in East LA, and the whole time he's trying to prove that he was at a Dodgers game. So they're going, so it's worth checking out. I don't want to spoil the stuff in it because there's some surprises and stuff, but it's on Netflix. It's 40 minutes long, so it's not a lot of a long view by any chance.
So 2 documentaries for the Kidmeister. Nice.
Yeah. Going highbrow finally.
We saw a South Korean action movie called The Villainess.
I never heard of that one.
It's directed by a stuntman, and the action's insane. Like the camera work they do, like when they're driving through the tunnel, and they keep it one take and they're moving around like actual cars and shit. It's phenomenal. But it has a really slow, convoluted, boring second act. We almost gave up on it. I was like, no, we're almost then the last act's badass again, So there is a
little bit of a slog, but it
but
picks up the end. So.
If you're an action person, I highly suggest it because the action in that movie is some of the most unique, engaging, well shot. Where it's how did they pull that off? Constantly, it's really good.
So you went for 2 Asian action movies this week, back with Skiptrace, this and that. Wow,
I didn't know how Asian
action.
I didn't know how Asian Skiptrace was going to be. I didn't know it was.
Pretty Asian.
Why don't you give the plot summary of Skiptrace?
I'm so happy that's my turn to do the plot summary of Skiptrace this week, because I saw the movie. I've read the Wikipedia plot paragraph 5 times, and I'm still okay, all right, here I go. So Jackie Chan plays this Hong Kong detective whose partner was killed by this mafia head guy, and now years later his niece is involved with them and in trouble with them, and he needs to go track down this American guy named Johnny Knoxville, who witnessed a murder by said mafia guy at a casino in, in Hong Kong, I believe. But unfortunately, he's in trouble with the Russian mob, so they've kidnapped him and taking him to Russia. So now Jackie Chan has to go to Russia to bring back Johnny Knoxville's character to Hong Kong to do some sort of exchange something. Yeah, that's about as clear as I can get it, even though it sounds way convoluted because it is.
It's convoluted as you're watching it, because I was like, wait, how do they know each other? What? Why? How is the nephew involved with? Like, and she worked with Johnny Knoxville or something like that, but they don't show that or something. So
I don't know. Like, there's a lot of twists too and stuff like that, but the main thing with this movie is if you look away for a minute, like in the middle of a scene, it'll come back. You're like, what the fuck did I just miss? Like there's so much of that. Like, well, what the fuck just happened? I mean, it's called Skiptrace. As long as I never heard that term. I've heard like bail bondsman and all this other stuff, bounty hunter, but I don't like it's the act of hunting someone down. But he doesn't. There's not really any hunting down in this movie. Like Jackie Chan basically just shows up behind the bowling pins, like looking at Johnny Knoxville or the Russians
out of nowhere. Like even that, I was like, how do you get there? Why is he there? Why is he behind the?
Why is he there? Yeah, it just will just jump to another scene and you're just kind of confused, like what the fuck is going on? And all of a sudden they'll be in the middle of this like Mongolian tribe wrestling match. Like how the fuck did they get from walking on a horse and then now they're just in that?
It was
There's a lot of that in this movie.
It was one of those movies I thought it was more of a tourist video, or a tourist like
a travelogue.
Yeah, travelogue. They were really showing off Mongolia, how beautiful it is, how interesting their people are, and like.
Well, I kind of dug that as I was like, well, that's that they're a lot of color and culture, and I like that kind of stuff that they're going, trying to elevate the material a little bit, I guess.
I mean, because you don't see a lot of movies shot there, but
right.
It was so forced. But why are they there? Why are they? Do you remember how they got there? And then they had to get to
Russia
to there to China.
It's essentially it's like a midnight run thing.
They jump off a train.
Well, yeah, I forget exactly how every little thing leads to one thing, but it's basically Johnny Knoxville. Once Jackie Chan grabs Johnny Knoxville, he's like, "I'm taking you back to Hong Kong," and then Johnny Knoxville like pickpockets his passport and burns it. So now they have to like go on foot from Russia to Hong Kong, but apparently you can just cross the borders of Mongolia and China without a passport if you're just walking or if you're just on foot, apparently not flying. I don't know.
Also, it's like some of the biggest landmass in the world. They're walking on foot, like the fields of Mongolia. That'll be fun.
Yeah. It doesn't make a lot of sense often. I don't know.
So let's just kind of scatter because I'm all over the place. Did you notice the camera work was really annoying? Like,
it was kind of just that quick cut, kind of just jumping around kind of stuff. It was hard to find your spot. I think, well, Rennie Harlin is an American director, and he kind of came about like the late 80s, early 90s with like his movies like Die Hard 2 and Cliffhanger and stuff. He kind of fell hard with Cutthroat Island, which bankrupted Coralco Studios. It was a huge fucking bomb, like Heaven's Gate or something. He never really had like a Asian style to him. I never really thought he was going for like a John Woo or Sue Hark or one of those guys thing. But it seems ever since he moved his production company to like Hong Kong or China, like 5-6 years ago, so he was doing this. I think he's tried to adapt, of course, like that style of filmmaking. So it was a weird kind of combo of like Rennie Harlin trying to do like an Asian cinema thing. I don't know.
And it doesn't work. I mean, I was surprised actually some of the action, like it's not good Jackie Chan. It's aged Jackie Chan, but I was expecting there to be more cuts, like the Jet Li American movies, which were just god awful, in the 2000s or 90s.
I wouldn't say they're god awful, but they're very Americanized. Like it's just like
this was trying to make a Jackie Chan movie. Like he's allowed to do his stunts and stuff, but they're still like
he's muted. Yeah, he's in his 60s now, and he was in his 60s when he made this. And when he got his big breakthrough, when I kind of became aware of them as a teenager in the 90s, was like Rumble in the Bronx and those kind of movies they just kind of imported over here. But the big marketing push was like, he's the only action hero that does all his own stunts. And during the gag reel at the end of this one, I was surprised at how many stunts he did, but it was pretty clear, like some of the stuff, that's not Jackie Chan, jumping. You can see it clearly. So he's at the point where he's not doing all his own stunts anymore, which I've never really been a big stickler on anyway. Like when they always say, Bruce Willis did all his own stunts. It's like, okay, like who cares? But yeah, I just noticed he's getting along the tooth for some of these.
Coming from a guy who just saw a Buster Keaton documentary, you're not impressed by actors who do their own stunts?
Well, I mean, I meant
What about the Cruise? Tom Cruise, does that impress you?
Tom Cruise, it's okay. It's all height related though. That's all he does basically. It's just, I guess he flies now like helicopters and jets, but it's him on top of a cliff, on top of a building, hanging onto an airplane. It's just all heights related. Like I don't know.
Side note, but Jackie Chan actually credits Buster Keaton as one of his biggest inspirations. So it's kind of funny.
Well, I'm not trying to take away from stunt.
I'm not attacking you.
I'm not a big fan. I'm a big fan of stuntman. I'm just saying that like people that are a stickler for like, did you know Arnold did all his own stunts? Did you know Stallone did all his own stunts? Like, first off, I don't really believe that how insured these guys are on how much money it costs them. Like a lot of times, the studio won't let them do their own stunts, so I'm not really buying it.
Yeah, but you're like and that. Even if someone were to go, "Oh yeah, I got my doctorate," you're like, look, I don't give a shit what you did.
You think I'm that big of a dick? It's like, I have my doctorate. Oh, I got my doctorate. Oh, I'm fucking a smart guy. Shut up, idiot.
He did his own stunts. Who gives a shit? I don't give a shit if you did your own stunts. Not impressed.
Well, yeah, no, I'm not really. I don't know. It's just like, Charles Bronson was really old, like, in the 60s and his 80s movies. And I'm sure wasn't doing anything. And it was like, Charles Bronson didn't do this. I mean, that's to an extent. Well, I want to actually, that kind of segues into what I was hoping this movie wouldn't be, which was, are you familiar with the term geezer teaser? Mm-mm. It's those movies like you see, like, I don't know if you ever go to Redbox, but like, there's like, Bruce Willis in this, or, you've never heard of Redbox?
I live in Hollywood. We don't have that here.
You're really doing great at the yes and part of this.
I never did good in that.
I don't. No, you're like this now.
So is that when they just have like one scene with them in it or something like that?
It's basically like Bruce Willis is on the poster or the thumbnail, and he's in it for like 5 minutes, but it's like Bruce Willis in. I mean, like the Razzie just pointed out that he was in 7 movies last year that he was like headlining, even though he's basically on set for a day. Steven Seagal has been doing this for a while. I picked up this like Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jackie Chan movie called Iron Mask like a little while ago. And Schwarzenegger was barely in it, even though he was first billed. And, so I was thinking like, oh, is this going to be one of those where Jackie Chan's like in it for 5 minutes? And Johnny Knox, I'd never even heard of this movie until I saw it come up on our buddy action comedy list. But I'll say, no, this is a full on buddy action comedy. They have a lot of screen time. So this is not a geezer teaser where Jackie Chan's not even having a stuntman to walk upstairs. He's still doing the stuff. It's just
speaking of their screen time. What did you think of their chemistry?
I thought it was okay. I like Johnny Knoxville and I like Jackie Chan. I didn't really buy them. I know the whole thing seemed pretty contrived as far as like, do you believe any of it? Like, no, I just they had to be there to do the thing. It wasn't very organic. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, by the end, you believe that they formed this bond over this adventure, and that they would sacrifice themselves for each other. So in that dynamic, I don't know. Everything is so forced and staged, and like even like when they like laugh and like someone makes a joke, like there's nothing natural about this. Like I could basically see the set behind them and everything,
Well, sometimes you could see like the green screen and like when they're on the cliff and shit, it's like this is clearly like a stage with a green screen and stuff like that. But yeah, I liked them. I thought they were kind of at a fun rapport and stuff like that, but I didn't really buy them as like these guys are friends now, or I don't know. None of it really.
I think that's the production thing, because it feels like this was directed by PepsiCo. Like it was just like one big Chinese like money grab, and it's all very rah China.
It did pretty well in China. I mean, like it made $130 million in China.
Speaking of which, I couldn't find any box office information for domestic.
Because it didn't do anything. It basically it listed all the countries it was released in, like maybe barely on one screen, and it made like 136 million or something total worldwide, but like 133 of that was from China. So, I mean, I can see why a lot of big Hollywood movies now kind of, I don't want to say pander, but like, to the Chinese audience, because there's 300 million people in America. There's 1.4 billion in China. So you can make like, there's movies that are just released in China, like the Wolf Warrior movies, make 800, 900 million just in China. It's
those nuts, the Chinese cinema is caring less and less about Hollywood. Like China's been working really hard to wean them off Hollywood film, and it's been working. Like they don't watch the Marvel movies. Star Wars movies don't do well there. Like they like their own cinema. And so a lot of their movies are fucking insane. Like they're like not in a good way, but in an entertaining way. They're fucking, I mean, we have Fast and the Furious. What am I talking about? But they're insane.
Well, I've also heard they have like the social credit system they have over there in China, where you can get like, voted down, you can lose your social credit points or whatever.
Yeah.
I've heard if you like a movie that's been deemed shitty, like on your, online, you can get knocked for like social, like, I thought Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was awesome. Like, beep, 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 beep. Like now you can't buy a house.
We could use that here. That'd be fun.
Oh yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, that'd be wonderful.
No, this movie just felt like it felt too safe. It's like there was no time for them to improv and be natural. Like they never let the camera sit and let them just be. Like the train scene, the camera kept changing and going into their face, and they're talking about goat balls and like so many ball jokes. There were so many ball jokes.
Which was funny. Like Johnny Knoxville was like, "What goat balls?" when like they drink fucking bull sperm in these jackass movies and stuff. That was such a lame joke, but yeah, I did feel like none of it felt natural. But I'll say though, it did have like kind of a fun, light thing to it. There's a lot of really silly moments, like when they're with the Mongolian tribe, and they just all bust into that Adele song for no reason, and it's just what the fuck. I think I'm probably having fun making it and stuff like that. So it's not like I wasn't like, when will this be over? It was, kind of still kind of a fun movie, just a curio piece anyway.
I was by the start of the climax. I was like ready to. I was like, okay, let's go.
Get on with it.
This is all generic, stupid. I don't give a shit. I know how it's gonna end. Please stop. I was like, I wouldn't have been able to endure more than half of this movie if it wasn't for this, and even then it was really hard to
I probably would never have checked out this movie if it wasn't for this, podcast. But I'm glad we covered it, just because it is the most contemporary movie like we've watched. I mean, like 2016, most everything we cover is like the 80s. So it is, but also watching it, I was kind of saying, this is kind of why these movies kind of fell off. They do kind of seem a little, I don't know, old hat or something, or maybe they just made so many of them that everything's just such a cliche or anymore. I don't know. So
yeah, the action or the comedy has to be top shelf. Otherwise, we've seen it all before. No one's going to be interested. And this didn't have either of those, of course.
Yeah, like the story and the characters have to work. You have to believe them or be invested or care. Where I was kind of confused what the fuck was going on. I didn't really believe like Johnny Knoxville's whole thing with the Russian family wanting him to marry their daughter. Like none of it really.
And they really didn't have
any of it.
Like if you look at Chris Tucker or Owen Wilson, those two can carry a movie with Jackie Chan because of their comedic abilities. And Johnny Knoxville, I also like, just doesn't have it. He's not cut of the same cloth.
Yeah, I Megan's walking by the light right here. Sorry. Anyway, she says hi. So yeah, I like him. Like, I like Johnny Knoxville. I think he's good in like the Jackass movies, is like the like stunt performing and doing like stuff like that. As far as like an actor goes,
can you name one performance that you would be like, oh, he was good in that?
No, as far as like, that was kind of like, I was thinking like The Ringer. That was like his kind of big like leading man, and that was just kind of and then like using like Men in Black 2, which was a really bad part, really bad movie. So maybe he just hasn't had the right part or something, but it's just he hasn't really ever nailed a acting like comedic role versus like being a kind of like stunt guy, host guy, something like that.
What was your favorite part of this movie?
Well, the one that sticks out the most is with the Mongolians like sing the Dell song, but maybe when they have those, what are those like Russian dolls that like you keep
Oh
opening them
yeah,
up,
yeah.
the smaller one.
That felt
That
like
was pretty
vintage.
funny.
Yeah, that felt like vintage Jackie Chan. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
How about you?
she's tough as nails. I didn't. My favorite part, I liked it
Yeah.
for all the wrong
Yeah.
reasons, and it's the very end when I'm like, if it's gonna be his fucking partner, isn't it? And then his partner
Oh
shows up. His
yeah.
partner's the big bad. I was like, this is so fucking
Yeah.
stupid. I saw it coming,
Stupid.
and I was
Yeah.
like, because literally they don't even show how this happened, but he's trapped to a
Uh-huh.
bomb. He jumps off a building and blows up. Do they ever
Yeah.
show how he escaped that with his life?
No, I was even confused. I did the reveal and stuff, but I was just also confused about why
He
Jackie
would,
Chan has to exchange Johnny Knoxville for his niece when she wasn't even kidnapped.
but there's so many
Or,
more
you know,
questions.
like,
Like, why does he even need to fake his death if he's this big
why did
mob
he even need to
boss?
fake his death?
Yeah,
Yeah, when he was the mob boss. I think they just wanted to have like a twist at the end or something. I don't know. It none of it really made a lot of sense to me, and it was hard to follow. But yeah, so
and what about the
Skiptrace.
voices? What about the voices? Like the chief and the partner lady, they speak in this like weird American, like it might be ADR because it doesn't sound like their English is like, it sounds really fake.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out. It's kind of like those old spaghetti westerns when everyone's
Mhm.
kind of they keep changing from what they're speaking. Like someone's speaking English, someone's speaking Mandarin, someone's speaking like this, Mongolian,
Yeah, why
whatever.
are the Hong
And
Kong police talking in English, but then we need subtitles when he's talking
right,
to his
well then
niece?
it
Like,
just yeah, and then it just kind of jumps around, like who's talking what or what. So yeah, it was kind of confusing. Like, why are you speaking Mandarin to your daughter at home, but not the cops aren't? But I think they were just hoping it'd be a well. It seemed to me that if this were only going to be released in China, why even bother? Having like American. Why bother having like Johnny Knoxville in it or anything?
yeah,
Just make it completely. I don't know. Maybe they were thinking they were going to release it in America, then saw the final
yeah,
product and didn't or
they
something.
probably had bigger aspirations. And what's with setting up his team at in the opening, and then they just never in the movie again?
Yeah, that was weird. They're doing the Mission Impossible one thing. It's like
Yeah,
we're a team, here we go, and then just
but
like fuck it, like
they didn't even die though. They're just like, they're just not going to be in it again.
yeah, it's like now we don't want to bother with them anymore. Let's get on to Johnny Knoxville, yeah, or I don't know. This is Did you hear? I don't know if you read any like the trivia on this. Did you hear about that crazy story with Rennie Harlin and Jackie Chan's first attempt at making a movie?
I read some snippets of it, but not in any detail.
Well, this was
Oh,
I know I don't.
I'll let you
Oh,
tell
go
them.
ahead.
Yeah, yeah. No, instead of me playing the guessing game, like,
I don't really know the validity of this, but it's part of the trivia section on IMDb. Very likely could be real, but apparently Rennie Harlin and Jackie Chan were going to work together, and like they were about to shoot one scene, the first scene on this movie called Nosebleed, which I think was like the climax scene with Jackie Chan having a fight on top of the World Trade Center building on the morning of September 11th. And then they postponed it because Jackie Chan had some other ideas. He's like, well, let's just do that next week. And they're like, okay. But that apparently was the day that they were supposed to film. So then they just shut down the whole movie. Was just like, after that happened, like they're just like, we're not going to go for it. Maybe it was set in New York. Maybe I don't know what the deal was about it, but I thought
that's wild.
that's true. That's a pretty insane story.
I don't believe it. I believe there's probably truth in there. I don't believe that.
Maybe, yeah.
I was, because everybody has a story like, oh yeah,
I've heard a lot of those kind of stories. You
Yeah.
don't know how it could be like a half truth or
Yeah.
something.
Well, it
So,
was
but
that
if it is
afternoon,
true, that's
but
crazy.
still, yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I feel like
Well, it's just
if that were true, it'd be more widely known. Like,
yeah, like Jackie Chan was filming a fight scene that morning on
Yeah.
top of that. That's a pretty big coincidence, but
I mean, maybe it was just like in the window of scheduling, because scheduling a fight scene like that, you don't go, we'll just do it some other time. I got another idea. That's a lot
right,
of
yeah.
moving parts. So
Moving parts. It's not like the night before, like just forget it. Yeah, just forget it. We'll go someplace else. Yeah, no.
So it sounds like it could have been. We could have been up there on 9/11. It was around that.
Right.
In that wheelhouse. But well, I'm glad they weren't. That would have Jackie Chan's death would have overshadowed all those lives lost. It's like
right, yeah, it'll be like 9/11, the day Jackie Chan died. Like, oh my god. Oh right, everybody else.
Like you don't want to be on an airplane with a celebrity, in case it crashes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you remember Jackie Chan Day?
Jesus Christ, never forget.
Yeah.
What's it called? Oh, I did have one. I did like it when he's wrapped up in that extended action sequence. I like that when the early one with Johnny. Well, I
when they
like,
put him in the barrel and stuff, and they have to, he's like rolling.
no, he's like, yeah, he's wrapped up.
Yeah.
Well, they do the whole warehouse thing. Like at first, I was like, this isn't great, but
Mhm.
this isn't bad. At least they're doing some fun things, and this is silly and stuff.
Yeah.
And it gets progressively worse as it goes. And it should be mentioned
Right.
too.
Well, I don't think it's progressively worse. I think it gets it's pretty fun. It hits its stride that it just kind of keeps going and going, and then just it's over. I don't think it's like it started out one way and then just got worse. I think it's pretty much one note like the whole way through.
I think the final like half hour, 40 minutes are a slog. At least to me, they were.
Maybe it started dragging for you at that point. You were just kind of over it or something.
Yeah, it could have been that. Then the Titanic ending is weird and like whatever.
That was weird. Well, I guess you hear that cinematographer died on this.
Yeah,
like just drowned.
Yeah,
and
the cinematographer drowned to death making Skiptrace.
Drowned. Yeah,
that sucks.
Oh boy. Yeah, it really sucks. Well, as far as it's dedicated to him, but I always thought that like I feel weird when movies are dedicated when someone dies, because I don't think any movie is worth someone fucking dying over. So it's like, Deadpool 2 is dedicated to the guy that died making this movie because some people were, reckless or something.
Dangerous it is. Like even some of these stunts, I was like, whoa, that can't be cool, and like Jackie Chan's in the river. He can't even he can't fucking swim. The actor can't swim. And they're doing this whole thing in a river. It's like, I don't know. They don't have the same insurance things that US has, but still, it's wild.
Right.
There's fucking something else. I should write stuff down. Oh, well. Say la vie.
Oh, well.
So what would
Good
you get? Back to Lucas Oil and Crossfire.
Yeah. I was gonna, never mind. Yeah.
Go to someone else?
Yeah. It's interesting you bring that up. I got nothing.
That's it. That's basically my impression if I'm ever on Bill Maher. No, science is number one. And I think bipartisan. Bill,
help me out.
Help me out, Bill. I should have come on this.
So what would you give Skiptrace? I was thinking last week, when we're doing our 1 through 10 and stuff, basically we're talking about like, no movies are these numbers and no movies are 9s or 10s. So if every movie falls between 4 and 8, why don't we just do a 1 through 5 scale or, A to F? Because it doesn't make, if no movies at 3 and no movies at 9, then why?
I'll tell you why. Because one day
I know why.
Someone's gonna make a 10. Someone's gonna someday that's gonna happen. Besides, I believe a 9's haven't made. Like I would say Godfather, maybe a 9,
It's not a buddy action comedy, by the way. But if you're confused on that aspect,
I was just talking about movies in general.
I'm talking about if we have a buddy action comedy scale, and there's nothing below a 4, and there's nothing
I would say
above an 8,
Lethal Weapon 2 might be a 9.
We'll have to revisit it and stuff. But I'm just saying, like, what I think it is. I think if we overpraise, if you give something a 9, and then someone sees it, they're like, that movie sucks. Then, I don't want to look stupid. Or if I undervalue something, I don't want to seem like an asshole. So it's like those guys that give what's 1 through 100 scale.
What's your solution? I'm not being contentious. I really want to know what do you suggest?
We're gonna go 1 through 5 chocolate chip sundaes.
So you want to do it? So from now on, our scale will be 3 to 8. So that'll be
well, that's just 1 through 10. That's no, it's a 1 through 5 because that's or an 8 through F. Anyway, I'm just gonna do like a stuff. I'm not gonna do that. I give this one a 7. Everything's a 6 or a 7. It's just gonna be nothing but 6s and 7s.
So you want to do just 1 through 5?
I think 1 through 5 is fine. Yeah, it's just because it's boring if everything's just a 5 or a 6 every time.
Okay, from now on, we talk about this stuff with me off the air, so you don't.
No, I like springing it.
We have production. We have hour-long production.
Also, I'm moving back in with you. Just wanted to let you know.
Mary's okayed it.
Yeah, we've been talking about it for a while now. You guys might have to move into the living room, but it's fine.
Kenny's brand new 1 through 5 scale. What will you give Buddies on Buddies?
The show here,
this is a
1.
You're being too generous.
A+.
Sorry. Skiptrace.
Skiptrace. I'll give it a 2.5.
I'll give it
No,
a 2.
I'll be a nice 3. It's a 3 because it's I thought it was entertaining and fun and breezy. It wasn't a hard watch for me.
I'll give it a 2.5 on a buddy scale, and a 2 as a regular
Okay.
movie.
Okay.
That's where I stand on that.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Um,
Okay. So what did we learn from Skiptrace?
I learned that there's a big wide world out there making big Hollywood movies that don't take place in Hollywood. They take place in China.
Yeah. Wow. You just realized this?
No, I've known it, but this is the first time I really saw one, and you can kind of see the inner workings more than normal, Like you'll see a lot of, especially martial arts movies, will have this moment of patriotism and stuff, and it's back to the ass kicking. This looked like such a corporate, that's probably why there are so many companies in front of it. Probably so
it was
many
a
people
lot of names. Well, it wasn't even just the logos. It was just just a list of people that just put up the money. It's did all these boom, 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 boom presents. It just, that was a lot. I realized that you don't even need to release movies in America anymore. just pander to China. Don't even bother. 1.4 billion versus 300 million. Yeah, why even bother?
All my scripts are right now pander to China. I think I'm getting some.
Yeah, I'm going to pander I'm leaning way into it. My next script is called Stupid American Bastard. I'm seeing it from the other's perspective. Yeah,
it's a little dangerous.
A little edgy in a very communist way.
Great. So next week I have the movie picked out.
Okay.
I don't think you're going to see it coming.
Okay.
It is a Korean film.
Didn't you pick out Skiptrace?
No, you brought it up, and I was just, let's do that.
Okay.
We're doing this one anyways. I don't feel like it's from 2019.
What happened last week? You were unprepared and you started Googling. Hold on a second, I got one. You started Googling buddy action comedies, and then you came with Skiptrace. You're like, what do you think of Skiptrace? Like, okay, Skiptrace.
Well, it's on tape.
That's what happened. I just wanted to recap.
No, I was looking at it. Then that's probably right. But this time I decided to come prepared because I didn't want that to happen.
All right, we'll let you go 2 in a row. Sure.
Great, thank you. It's called. Besides, I watched the trailers you put in my YouTube channel. I'm not looking forward to your next selection.
Awesome. Yeah, I knew you would be. You're like, oh shit. I don't want to comment on that.
James Caan, Alan Arkin one looks interesting though. From 2019, it's a South Korean film. It's called Miss and Mrs. Cops, and it's a female buddy Koreans. We're doing our first actual foreign one and our first woman led.
Okay.
Yeah. So that'd be interesting. Right. I don't know anything about it. I think it's probably better than average, but again, I don't know.
Mr. and Mrs. Cops?
Miss MISS and Mrs. Cop. You can rent it on Amazon.
Miss and Mrs. Cops. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So I don't know what to expect. So it'll be interesting.
Is it? We were trying to talk about we're branching out from just buddy action comedies, doing buddy movies in general. Is this like a buddy action comedy, or is this
It's a buddy action comedy. It's a buddy action comedy, from what I can tell.
All right.
So I hope it's at least interesting or good.
I'm indifferent about that. I'll watch it and rate it, like it, even if it's a piece of shit. Whatever.
We're gonna start working on our graphics. That'll be fun.
Get ready for some thumbnails, guys.
Because it's all about the click through.
Christmas.
You know that? It's all about the click through.
Yeah.
They need to see buddies and buddies. They need to see pictures. So we'll get on that. We're gonna start trying real hard around here. Real hard.
We might get an editor, maybe some music someday, but we're not in any rush. So
no, we do this as a hobby.
It's so pure right now. We don't want to, spoil the well, I guess.
We're in act 1, before our meteorize, and we're just taking our time because it's always followed by that horrible downfall,
Yeah. We're Joe Rogan when it was just he and his buddies sitting around smoking pot, talking about stupid conspiracy theories. That's where we're at right now. And then, boom, wow.
And then we're changing the world for the worst. Or better if you're a fan of Joe Rogan. I don't know.
What stage would we at? Never mind.
What? No.
I was trying to think of I was think of other big podcasts. I think Mark Maron's started out as a liberal talk show, and then it just evolved into him just interviewing his comedy celebrity friends. But
Dennis
it's funny how
Miller
these things evolve.
Dennis Miller, no, he doesn't do. I was thinking more of just success stories in general, you know.
Yeah, but I was thinking like specifically to podcasts. So like, I just wondering like in like 10 years if we're like, hosting the like the New York, news or something. That'd be interesting. Look back and say like this is where they came. Or
I want to hold your breath on that.
Do you know that they started as two idiots talking about stupid fucking buddy action comedy movies, and now they're the governor and secretary of state or whatever? Yeah,
they had 9/11 jokes in their 5th episode.
Recently unearthed, Senator Kenny Lane made 9/11 jokes, saying Jackie Chan dying would be worse. Yeah.
Mr. China Kenny Lane said Jackie Chan.
The Rock refuses to go on his show now, and his agency dropped him, and that's gonna be fun.
I look forward to that. All right, until next time. Peace, y'all.